Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are joining. This is Piyush Chowhan, and I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic, particularly related to how I see CIO's journey in the current days. Last 1 year, or a little more than 1 year, has been really traumatic and a game changing event for every one of us. I hope that everyone is safe, and we hope and pray that these difficult times actually get over. But one thing which has kind of puzzled me for almost a year is that the pace at which the CIO role is being challenged and changed is something which is unprecedented in the coming times, and it gives me a lot of pleasure to kind of share some of the insights when I'm speaking to. So I am kind of speaking to a lot of my CIO friends across geographies, be it in the US or be it in India or be it in the Far Eastern countries and the Middle Eastern countries. There is a common themes that are emerging, and what I will do today is try to kind of enumerate some of the themes that I see as to how this role needs to be reshaped, because COVID has pushed everything to a new normal, and there has to be a new normal for the CIO community in large. And we will kind of understand if those changes are not implemented, or if CIOs don't embrace this change. I think it is inevitable that we are in for a very, very tough time. And hence, I believe that this presentation will be quite informative for everyone, and there will be some key takeaways which everyone can go back to their jobs and then apply, and then make a very, very kind of a fruitful future for the entire CIO community. So let me start with this kind of question which was floating around, and to a lot of forwards, WhatsApp forwards, this would be a kind of a moment of laughter for millions and millions of people who have received this. But it actually shows how COVID has impacted the entire digital transformation journey. Yeah. And what has happened in the last few years is there's a new role which is becoming more and more prominent, which is this chief digital officer. Yeah. In the past, the banking industry started with digital, in the sense they wanted the digital channel to be implemented. The e-commerce companies started to have e-commerce as a channel. And then suddenly we are seeing that all major organizations are building something called as a CDO. Now, the CDO is a very confused positioning as of now. In some organizations, they sit within the business. So, for example, they are the earlier chief marketing officers, or they are the chief customer care officer, and so on and so forth. Whereas in some organizations, they are kind of moving from the technology function. But there is no clear definition as to what that CDO role should be. Who should he report into? What are the roles and responsibilities? And hence, to me, this seems to be a very intriguing opportunity for the CIO community to scale up and kind of take all the expectations which the CDO is doing, and then embrace that, and then deliver towards that digital proposition which everybody is talking about. Because digital transformation is absolutely a must. And if I can kind of enumerate the journey that I see from a technology perspective, obviously in the early 50s to 70s, it was a mainframe era. Yeah, there were large machines wherein everything was just maintaining physical infrastructure around those mainframes. From the 70s to 90s, obviously we know there was distributed computing era wherein applications became much more distributed. There were three-tier architecture, n-tier architecture, and so on and so forth, which is when the applications became decoupled to some extent. And then obviously the rise of internet came, yeah, which is when the dot-com boom actually happened. But post that, the world has been very different. At least the beginning of this century, the world has been very different from a from a technology perspective. And that is when the CIO role as such became so much more prominent, which in today's context is sometimes referred to as the digital transformation era. Yeah. And this digital transformation era is posing a lot of challenges in front of this entire CIO community. Yeah. Digital is becoming the core of business strategy of each and every organization. Any sector that you talk about, they are talking about making digital at the core of its strategy. And hence, the role of the CIO, as you would see, since the industry has moved, the technology industry has moved, it is no longer about IT infrastructure. It is no longer about being a service provider to the business. And hence, it is very important, and mark my words, it is very important that CIOs are no longer owners and delivery agents of technology to the company. And if CIOs continue to play that role in which they look for the business to give them requirements and then they will suffice those requirements, I think those days are gone. And what organizations are looking for is much more inclusive, much more leadership oriented, and much more strategy oriented role from a CIO in the days to come. This is a very interesting survey which was done across some companies, and what was kind of found is, out of a lot of digital transformation initiatives which are going across in the organizations, only 33% of them are being owned and managed by the CIOs, which to me is a very, very missed opportunity. And why I say so, I'm not saying that other CXOs are not capable, but all I'm saying is that the CIOs, in conjunction with the CEOs and the other CXOs, can take the leadership position in driving digital transformation initiatives. And the reasons are many. One is technology as an understanding, as a capability. The CIOs have the maximum at this point of time, but the view is that in future, the chief marketing officers will predominantly be MarTech professionals, or the CEOs will predominantly have a large part of their background coming from digital transformation and digital enablement journeys. Once till that thing happens, in which most of the CXOs are having a far superior digital background, the CIOs can play a very, very important. And to me, this is roughly still 5 to 7 years of journey, in which we can assume that the entire CXO community will be in a position to kind of understand digital to the core of it. It is already happening in companies, in digital native companies, be it the Amazons and the Googles of the world, where the tech leaders are the people who basically drive a lot of change and a lot of initiatives across the organizations. But still, the non-digital native companies, the CIOs can play that role, which is so very important to make sure that they lead the digital transformation initiatives across the journey of digitally making the organization digitally native, digitally competent, and digitally mature in the days to come. And one of the biggest impediments of why sometimes the CIOs are not able to be that chief strategist or be the main change agent, as I would call out in the previous slide, they have to be the lead change agent in this digital transformation journey. Why they are not able to do that is because a large part of the IT organizations are still set up in old model of IT, in which you have silos of capabilities. Let's say there are a set of, if I take a context of detail, there will be somebody who is looking after store operations, there will be somebody who will be looking after supply chain, there will be somebody looking at procurement and inbound logistics. So what we see is that why CIOs are not able to make a big impact is because the way the IT organizations are structured. And as I told in the previous slide, CIOs need to be a very, very important change agent as part of the digital agenda, which we are talking about in the days to come. The biggest impediment for CIO and the entire technology organization within the company not able to do that is still being looked at providers of technology in silo format. And if I were to give an example of the retail organization, there would be a team which would be looking at store operations. There would be a team looking at supply chain. There would be a team which must be looking at marketing and consumer technology. There may be a team, and hence there are fragmented solutions which are being built, and they basically are working in silos and in hierarchical mode, in which there would be some amount of development, then there would be some amount of analysis, project managers on top, and then there will be the IT leadership function. Now, that is not how the modern day digital ready organization is looking at IT, because IT has to be embedded, or technology has to be embedded in each and every function. And so each and every CXO, be it the CIO, be it the CMO, be it the CFO, be it the chief customer officer, be it the chief executive officer, all these executives have different needs. And so what needs to be done is IT and technology needs to be embedded as change agents within those units, so that you are able to create a holistic view of the digital transformation journey which is coming. Because what a CEO agenda is and what a CMO agenda is very different, but they have to marry over at a organization strategy level, wherein the CIO needs to play an important role of being a change agent, but the marketing technology has to work with the CMOs so that they align to the overall digital transformation agenda with the company is looking for. So the technology has to be embedded and it has to be flexible. The only way you move from the left hand side, which is the old model of IT, to the new model of IT, is to construct your IT organizations into very, very flexible agile teams. These agile teams all come together, which are from different technology background, different functional background. They come and try to solve a problem. Once they solve the problem, they basically disappear, go and form a separate team, and they keep on working in this agile mode, helping the various CXOs and able to work on the digital transformation in agile. What is happening differently in that case is you are very, very agile. The speed of delivery is very high and you are very close to the business. So you fail fast and you basically deliver and change fast. And this new way of working has to be embedded into the new way of delivery. And until unless this happens, you will not be able to make a big impact. And if you were to look at large monolith, big size applications which are being delivered in the past decade. So if I were to kind of look at what are the characteristics which are needed, if we were to look at from a CIO perspective, the biggest characteristic is on the left hand side, is that he or she needs to be a transformation leader. Yeah, which means that they are the people who will have to embrace change, and technology is changing at a much faster pace. It is now becoming so much evident that it is basically technology is changing. The mobile technology is changing so fast, the cloud technology is changing so fast, the AI and ML technology is changing so fast, that you need to make sure that your team is upgraded from the skills perspective on a very, very regular time. So you need to have the right talent. You need to understand the entire catalyst view which is required to move one part of the organization which is non-digital into digital and play that catalyst role. So being transformative is one of the key elements of a CIO and its organization in the days to come. The second biggest thing is alignment. And I think this is where CIOs are the best in place to have an alignment of the strategy of the various functions. CFO and the CMO will have slightly different views. CFO will try to make maximum profit, whereas CMOs will try to make maximum sales by doing marketing expenditure. It is the role of a technology leader or a digital leader to align these and then build a strategy which is more focused and more kind of forward looking for the organization to transform. And hence the CIO had to play this alignment role, what I call as business strategist. And this is where the knowledge about the function, knowledge about the business, knowledge about what is happening in the domain that they are working on is so very important. The other important capability which is out there is around execution. And to me, this is the differentiator. You may be a good transformation leader, you may have excellent strategy capability, but all that will not be able to deliver the exact outcome of the digital transformation until you show that execution. And to me, 80% of the digital transformation programs are failing because of this execution capability. And one of the reasons why this is failing is the team is not structured in the right way. The team does not have the right skills which is there, or the team is not nimble and agile enough to deliver to the speed which the businesses are asking for. And hence, making sure that the organization is ready, making sure their execution engine is so nimble and powerful that it is able to align to the strategy and the transformation goals that the organization has laid out for. And obviously, as you would see, the fourth is being nimble and agile. Now, until unless you are agile, you will not be able to adapt to the new technologies which are coming, and hence you have to disrupt. The CIO has to disrupt himself or herself every 2 years. The cloud technologies, the AI technology, they are coming at such a fast pace, and they are going kind of becoming extinct at such a fast pace that you need to be so much more agile to adapt new things and make sure that the old things are kind of phased out, so that you're not stuck up with everything. So being a catalyst, being a strategist, being a hands-on operator, and being a technologist with an agile mindset, these are some of the characteristics which are required for a new age CIO to lead this digital journey. Until unless we as a community look at this as a holistic picture, we go out to the various parts of the organization and bridge the gaps between the various silos which are out there, we will not be able to create a very, very great impact in the digital transformation journey. And hence, my message to all my CIO friends and the technology leaders who are listening to this is, this is a golden moment for every one of us. Let us make sure that we take this opportunity, understand the characteristics, build those skills within us and in the teams that we manage, so that we are able to carve out a very, very bright and a prosperous future for all our technology and the CIO community in the days to come. Thank you, and hope you have a wonderful time in the conference ahead.